Hi, Nick.
Love you to just talk to us a little bit about yourself and what your role and what the bond board do.
Wow. I guess I'm going to start with myself, which is something I don't normally do, but I'll start with myself. Um, I've worked at the bond board now for a long time. It's getting on for 18 years. I haven't always been the chief executive of the bond board. I arrived as a project worker to develop a project on I think it was a 3-month temporary contract many years ago, obviously. And over the years, very successful delivering that project, applied for this role, and here I am many years later. I've actually been the CEO now for the last 14 years. Prior to that, I worked down in London, worked in homelessness. My passion originally, when I started out, was, and I was very young, I was going to be a maker, and I made pots, and I had my own little ceramic studio. So, and I moved north out of London, and I had this romantic idea, but I missed people, and I got a temporary job working with the bond board, and working with people, and it kind of got me hooked and realized actually that's what I enjoy doing, is working with people as opposed to sitting somewhere thinking about how to make a vessel that someone may use. I guess it has its importance, but it's, yeah, I get my energy from other people.
Well, you're
The,
lucky. You're lucky you found something.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I do feel very lucky. The bond board, it's a homeless charity, but unlike, well, our niche, and lots of people talk about their unique selling points, and the bond board doesn't necessarily have any selling point as such. It's more has a niche, which is the private rented sector. And I guess the appeal to me is working with those people, the underdog, the excluded, the forgotten, the invisible. And quite often people get placed in the private rented sector and they get forgotten about. If you're on a low income or on benefits, life in the private sector can be tough. There is whole sections of, I don't know if you're ever looking at a estate agent's window in central London and people are paying, thousands and thousands of pounds a week to live somewhere. That's not our target market. Our target market is very much those people who would struggle to get accommodated, don't have much money, and have burnt all their other options. So we did a piece of work a few years ago with the people that use the service, and one of the things that came back time and time again from people is why people told us about the last. So they were told about all the other options for housing, but they were told about us last of all, because quite often people, certainly at the bottom end of the market where we operate, trying to raise standards for the in the private landlords, it's affordable housing. The perception is that people wouldn't want to live there, but actually for a lot of people they choose it because they get carpets, they get curtains, they get white goods, they get to live without stigma. They don't have to be in the middle of an estate somewhere. They get to escape some of the difficulties of not having much choice. I'm not saying there's a great deal of choice, but they get different choices rather than having to compete on housing options lists and which band you're in, where you're going to be waiting years. We're much, in that sense, we've always been, and we always try to be much more accessible. And we have a range of services. And one of the things that we have done at the bond board is diversify all the different things that we can do. The common theme in all of them, though, it's aimed at working with people who are living in the private rented sector, whether it's helping them maintain their tenancies through very simple support services or through Housing First project pilot that we're in, or through our shared housing management scheme, where we which is a bit of a social enterprise as well, where we charge landlords for the service. It's about making the private sector accessible if you haven't got any money, overcoming the prejudice of people on benefits, people who've been homeless, chaotic housing history, offenders, drug users. It's overcoming those barriers for people, especially when they've been through all the social housing and the supported housing and the hostels, and it's all failed for them. Quite often they'll come to the bond board and it will succeed because it's about taking a risk, a leap of faith. Sometimes it's about giving somebody, I think it was phrased a few years back at one of our staff events, a third chance